We rely on DPL to stay up to date with current products, making sure that all of our clients have what they need, making sure that fees are staying in check, and that we're giving them, our clients, the best products that we can find out there for them.
Hear how this firm used DPL's tools and technology to make the transition to independence. You're listening to Advisor Revelations.
Welcome to the Advisor Revelations podcast. I'm Ross McGoodwin, Regional VP of Member Success at DPL Financial Partners. Today, we'll discuss the Alliance Advantage, the power of partnerships in an M&A strategy. Today, we're joined by Drew Gearhart, Partner and Wealth Advisor with Waverly Advisors, a fee-based fiduciary RA with locations in 16 states, more than $18 billion in assets under management. Drew, thanks for taking the time today. Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Ross. I appreciate you having me on today. Look forward to chatting with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we start a discussion today, I want to remind our listeners to please subscribe to this podcast on your favorite streaming app for updates. If anything we talk about today interests you, be sure to contact a DPL consultant on our website at dplfp.com. Drew, to help our listeners better understand your firm and your experience, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself, Waverly Advisors, and your background and journey?
Yeah, absolutely. Ross, I've been doing this for a long time at this point. I started in the insurance industry, oddly enough, when I first got out of school with MassMutual, and slowly got my CFP and had mentors steer me in the direction of going to a fee-only or fee-based financial planning firm as kind of the way the world was turning at that point. So I joined Charlie Haynes's old firm called Kinsight right out of MassMutual, and we then got acquired by Warren Averett, which was an accounting firm that also had a wealth management group. At the time, they had been in service since 1999, so they still had a rich history, but we were one of the first acquisitions that came into that group. And we have continued to grow ever since. So Waverly Advisors is a product of us rolling out of that accounting firm, and we had about 40 employees in 5 locations across the Southeast and about $4 billion of assets. And so we've grown to now just shy of 300 employees, just shy of 40 locations, and over 18 billion of assets. So we've come a long way.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, it's been crazy seeing the growth just in a few years, and it's really representative of, I think, also the industry as a whole in terms of how firms are continuing to really focus on M&A strategy, realizing that there's a lot of great advisors out there, but they maybe need a platform like Waverly to help them grow the way they want and be able to get a lot of nice synergies from, a centralized approach that you all built. So yeah, kudos to you all on your growth. It's really impressive.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So you mentioned the legacy there in accounting services. It's actually interesting, your background starting in the insurance industry. Your journey with Waverly sort of left the insurance annuity industry, but then holistic planning started to become a bigger and bigger focus. And I think nowadays, it really has to be. You see a lot of just general asset management becoming more commoditized, and I think clients are asking for more. So as you all started to grow and bring on new teams, how important was it to have some third-party partners to help really round out the holistic approach when you bring on a new team?
Yeah, that's a great question. So our roots have always been comprehensive financial planning, and that obviously entails insurance advisory work as well. So just like you said, everybody seems to be able to get a portfolio together, but it's really touching on a lot of the other points in a person's life to make sure that everything's talking and everything's working in the right direction for a client. So with that, insurance comes up quite frequently, all different types, property, casualty, financial-based products. And so we know our strong point is being, the quarterback and having a comprehensive plan delivered for clients, but we can't know everything about everything. And so that's where we started looking for a relationship as a third party like DPL to come in and help facilitate that whole process for us. And so we rely on DPL to stay up to date with current products, making sure that all of our clients have what they need, making sure that fees are staying in check, and that we're giving, our clients the best products that we can find out there for them. So.
Yeah, we've been partnered now for a few years, and really the genesis for our partnership was you all were acquiring one of the teams that we already made a connection with, and they were actively faced with trying to review clients' existing annuities. And that team didn't necessarily have a lot of background with annuities. And in the beginning, I made it very clear, you all are fiduciary fee only. That's your all's structure and your philosophy. And historically, annuities and insurance has not really played well with that model or really reflected that philosophy. So now with the ability to bring in fee-only alternatives, we were able to help that firm, I think, get a little more comfortable and help a client find much better pricing than where they were currently. But what's been the transformation for your all's advisors, maybe who didn't have that background and now maybe are looking at annuities and insurance through a different lens? What's that been like?
So, Ross, that's a wonderful question, because we do take a different approach to this, where we have a lot of clients that have annuity products or life insurance products that have cash values that we had not in the past done a lot of planning around. But because of our relationship, we're able to come in and look at a current client's existing policy to see how we can add value to that client. And DPL has always made us look good and smarter than we actually are in this area by providing us with plenty of information, policy review, and then what might we do to better the client situation. So we are very thankful for that relationship, and we are not probably actively hunting for annuity business, but it's more of a, how do we serve our current clients in a more comprehensive way? And this is one way we can leverage that.
Yeah, I'm surprised to hear that you don't wake up every day thinking about annuities like everyone else does.
Yeah.
But no, that that makes complete sense, of course. But I do think for a lot of teams, especially growing teams, it's the reality that half of retirees at some point will own an annuity. And for some, it is an unexplored opportunity. And if you're trying to maximize the M&A activity and the growth of the firm, it's something you can't ignore. Now that it's available in the AUM model that fits your all's revenue model and can really almost live side by side with the other assets and fully integrated in Orion, you all utilize Orion. That definitely, I think, changes the game, and it's exciting as you all are trying to continue to grow and of course, holistically serve clients. So when you have the ability to finally look at this space that is large and is certainly a part of that holistic plan, but now can be a part of that fiduciary and fee-only AUM, it's a bit of a game changer and really changes that entire AUM experience and potential growth for the firm on a go-forward basis.
Yeah, we've had a lot of firms that have come on board the past couple of years that have had existing annuity business, and that definitely comes up in the due diligence phase of what do we do with this block of clients. So this is definitely a way for us to present to them an option to either keep that current client, transition them to their book of business under our umbrella, or make it available a new product line that they've not had access to before. So we really are working with each of these individual groups that have come on board to say, what do you currently have? Let's take a look. And DPL has been a wonderful resource to help us evaluate the best case scenario for each of these contracts.
Yeah, it's been super easy working with you all, and the technology side plays a big role. We are investing a lot in technology, as you know, to try to make the review process as seamless as possible and to quickly arm your team with conversations and data so that you can talk to these firms and say, hey, we've looked at your book of business and here's some that makes sense for 1035 to fee-based options. And then undoubtedly there are some that don't make sense to exchange. That's why we had the Breakaway Accelerator program, where we can step in, become the agent of record, and maintain access for your firm to manage those assets. And I think that program's really helped us grow within our partnership, because these advisors bring on these books of businesses and they don't want to leave it behind at the end of the day. So I know that's also been something that's been pretty exciting for you with some of those M&A conversations.
Absolutely. It's been a big deal to be able to say, hey, yes, you are with Custodian X and you don't want to lose access to all of these contracts, but coming over to our platform, you still can have direct feeds. You can still have access, or let's take a look at these transitions to consolidate carriers. So it's really been a nice conversation, and it takes one of the barriers for a lot of these groups kind of off the table as, hey, we can figure this out. We might not need to do it exactly by the contract date, but we can work and make sure that over time we get everything integrated appropriately.
Yeah, absolutely. And those conversations in the beginning are so critical instead of it being, 6 months, a year down the road where it's harder to maybe stop and start some of those initiatives. So I think getting the door early with those discussions, understand that lay of the land, has definitely made a big difference there. So shifting gears just a little bit, I've noticed in recent months that there's been more of a focus or I think, natural curiosity with a lot of the advisors across the guaranteed income space, and for good reason. And these aren't just advisors who have historically maybe looked at the annuity space. Many are brand new to the annuity world, but they're finding planning scenarios where guaranteed income could be really interesting. And it makes sense because I know there's a recent 2024 BlackRock survey, which reported that 97% of annuity owners said they're less worried about their retirement savings running out because of the presence of their annuities. So when I've been collaborating with Waverly advisors, and then of course, actually Hammond works day to day with a lot of the advisors, we've noticed that it's now something people want to take a look at. They want to see the impact to the financial plan. They want to see how it takes pressure off the withdrawals for the portfolio to meet those withdrawals moving forward. So have you noticed that maybe a tone shift or maybe a renewed interest in some of those concepts because they now are available without commissions and are repriced?
Absolutely. I actually was talking to a family member earlier this week that was talking about, how do I make sure that my income stream is going to be high enough to support my needs in retirement? And so they are going to actually inherit an annuity from another family member. And so it's, what do we do with this? Do we make it into an income stream? Do we keep it? How do we handle this going forward? So it's a question that we're always talking about as far as inflows and outflows. Do you have enough inflows to support the outflows? And the smaller you can get that difference, the easier it is on the rest of the portfolio. So having a lot of different tools to tap into and options to see what might be the best fit, this is a natural fit for that. So
yeah, 100%. I think a really nice exercise is looking at that funded ratio. How many of those expenses that are non-discretionary do you actually have solved for already? And that's through Social Security, a pension, or any other guaranteed sources. And a lot of folks don't have as high of that funded ratio as they would like. So that's, of course, where that annuity can step in and help really solidify that income stream, and then allow you all to manage the rest of the portfolio a little differently or handle those discretionary spending needs from the portfolio, which is a little more natural there. So that's definitely a great exercise, and definitely encourage everyone to check that out if you haven't done that already. From the aspect of some new experiences as well, I think new planning opportunities. We had a quick example last year where we had an advisor in Mobile, Alabama, who came across a life insurance policy. And it's why it's always important to review everything, because goals change. And on the front end, they, of course, bought the policy to ensure, against legacy and be able to have a death benefit. Well, the situation changed. They realized that they actually had a longevity risk concern. What we're talking about, they wanted to actually have a guaranteed income stream for life. So instead of just cashing out the life policy, they decided, why don't we tax-free exchange this to an annuity? Let's set up that lifetime income stream. It also has a long-term care health activated multiplier where if they ever qualify, they can get extra income, and was really a dual benefit of lifetime income, something that helped pay for increase in healthcare costs if a long-term care event happens, and ultimately brought over $1 million of AUM to the firm. So hopefully part of the reason that was able to happen is the new resources and the partnership that we've created. That advisor said if it was a few years ago, he's not sure he would have explored all of that. So that's just a nice example of, I think, how the planning situation can change a bit once you have more resources and the team behind you. So that's just one example, but I definitely know there's more out there where advisors are changing the game a little bit with their conversations with clients.
Yeah, I think that's a fastball down the middle type of planning opportunity for clients, because you take a look at it and say, okay, well, this life insurance has done me good for all these years and was a hedge against my income, against any kind of major catastrophic event that came into play. But now that you're in retirement, your assets have grown. You might not have an estate issue that needs to be taken care of due to regulatory changes. And so you say, okay, well, how can I tap this money in a very meaningful way? And so this is a great situation of how we can turn what was more of a static life insurance policy or end of life planning to, hey, you can use this right now. And so that client was very pleased, and I know the advisor was happy to have those recommendations as well.
Yeah, that's great. And sometimes recommendation is going to be, hey, you should get out of this. I mean,
Yeah.
We all are sitting on the same side of the table here. Sometimes that's the right move, but sometimes those nice win-win situations certainly reveal themselves, and it's great to see. As you all continue to grow moving forward, you're at 18 billion now. What's the long-term goal? How big do you think Waverly can become? Where are you all focused? You're in 16 states, but tell me a little bit more about the longer-term vision that you all have.
Yeah, so we are growing as long as we still find like-minded folks. We always lead with culture in our group, which is the most important thing. I want to be able to talk with a new firm and it feel like we've been longtime colleagues. And so our CEO always says, and I think this is a wonderful line when he's talking with a new group about culture, and everybody's like, yeah, culture is good. He goes, you can call anybody in our firm. Everybody on our firm is on our website. You pick up the phone and call whoever you want, and you will learn about culture through them. And I think that's important instead of hearing it directly from one or two different folks, but you can pick up the phone and call anybody. And I think that's a testament to the type of business that we're working on and who we want to associate with. And we're always looking all across the US. I think by the end of the year, we will be coast to coast. So that's a big game changer for us as far as finding firms that are like-minded as well. I would say our sweet spot is not the slice and dice M&A growth model where we're going to have a PE group come in and cut expenses as much as possible. But we're also not going to be a name change autonomy type of group where you can still do your own. We're going to come in. We still want you to take the best care possible of your clients. And then we're going to help offload some of the back office, burdens, or boost technology or find ways to add value. So we have a definite sweet spot of people that want to still be engaged, be a part of a team, but are finding a struggle throughout the industry of keeping up from a back office standpoint. So
yeah, I think there's a lot of advisors who see that early growth and they really struggle to hit that next milestone. And I think through the platform you all built, you're helping people expedite their growth. And it's awesome to see the expansion. And you're 18 billion now. We'll see what it looks like a year from now. And who knows, maybe some folks are listening right now who could benefit from your all's type of platform and maybe check some of those boxes on those states that you're still trying to fill across the map there. So
yeah, let's fill them all up. Come on.
That's right. Fill it all up, all 50. Maybe not all 50. Who knows? Maybe there's some constraints to getting out to Hawaii or something.
Don't tell me you would not go visit Hawaii if there was an office out there, Ross.
Hey, yeah. If you need me to come help tell the DPL story and make sure that we capture all the held away annuity insurance assets, I will go with you. Let's make that happen. So
let's do it.
Yeah, I'm sure DPL would be all on board for that. So that's awesome. So yeah, congrats on the expansion. It's awesome to see how DPL is playing a role with those that have that insurance background and those that don't. But in either event, if you're a holistic planner, it's going to come up. These solutions are now available. It's now tech forward. You can go to our website at dplfp.com and see for yourself. Run the numbers, see what the portfolio looks like with and without the annuity. And certainly if people already have existing policies, that's where it's such an easy starting point. And Drew, you're of course the liaison for us at Waverly, a great resource, but we're all here to work together and make sure you maximize these opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to talk to anybody that wants to know how we can further our relationship through DTL and how that fits in with firms and M&As.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, thanks again for coming on the podcast today. Looking forward to seeing how you all continue to expand for years to come. And really excited about how technology is playing a role with our partnership and how, again, a year from now, it could look way different. We're working on making things more and more scalable for all involved. And it's been a long time coming. Insurance annuities has lagged behind for a long time, but we're really excited about the progress and certainly want to see this plugged in to your all's desktop on a go-forward basis, and super excited about that.
Yeah, it's been great seeing how technology has changed from when I started my career in the industry to where it is today. It is light years ahead of where it was.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I also started my career in the life insurance industry, typical platform, and over a decade, it's night and day. Super excited about that. Well, appreciate you coming on the podcast today, Drew. Really excited for the continued expansion for your role for Waverly Advisors, and thank you for being a great member, and thanks for being a great guest on the podcast today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Ross.
Yeah, thanks for joining. So everyone who's with us today, again, please connect with us at dplfp.com. Subscribe to more episodes on wherever you get your podcasts, and we look forward to visiting with you next time. Have a great day.
Thanks for listening. To hear more advisor revelations, go to dplfp.com and subscribe on your favorite podcast streaming app.